In this video, I'll explain what is protection, why it is needed in file sharing, and so and so. When information is stored in a computer system, we want to keep it safe from physical damage, which deals with the issue of reliability, and improper access, which deals with the issue of protection. The protection can be provided in many ways. For a single user laptop system, we might provide protection by locking this computer in a desk drawer or file cabinet. In a larger multi-user system, however, other mechanisms are needed. The protection refers to a mechanism for controlling the access of a program, processes, or used to the resources defined by a computer system. It also ensures that the resources of the computer are used in a proper way or not. It also ensures that each object is accessed correctly and only by those processes that are allowed to do so. The principles of protections are the time-tested guiding principle for protections, the principle of least privilege. It dictates the programmer, users, and even system be given enough privilege to perform their tasks. The principle of least privilege can help produce a more secure computing environment. Protection. What is protection and how it can be done? What can be done to give a protection and who will give the protection? So here the file owner or creator should be able to control what can be done on a particular file and by whom it should be done. Regarding the type of access, we'll see one by one. The need to protect file is a direct result of the ability to access files. Systems that do not permit access to the files of other users do not need protection. Thus, we could provide complete protection by prohibiting access to other users. Alternatively, we could provide free access with no protection. Both approaches are too extreme for general use. What is needed is controlled access. So, we will go with type of access. The protection mechanism provides controlled access by limiting the types of file access that can be made. Access is permitted or denied depending on several factors, one of which is the type of access requested. Several different types of operations may be controlled. First one is read. While reading from the file, protection can be given. Next one is write. To write or rewrite the file, certain controlled access can be provided in order to give protection. Third one is execute. It is nothing but load the file into memory and execute it. Here also protection can be given to a limited extent. Next one is append. Append is nothing but writing a new information at the end of file, and here protection can be done which by controlling which content has to be appended, who has to append it, like that. Next, delete. Delete access can also be controlled and thereby it will be used to free the space for possible reuse. Last one is list. It is to list the name and attributes of the file, and here also protection can be given. Other operations such as renaming, copying, and editing the file may also be controlled. For many systems, however, these higher level functions may be implemented by a system program that makes lower level system calls. So many protection mechanisms have been proposed. Each has advantages and disadvantages and must be appropriate for its intended application. So, what are the goals of protection? We need to provide protection for several reasons. One is the most obvious thing is need to prevent the bad intentional violation of an access restriction by user. Second one is the role of protection in a computer system is to provide a mechanism for the implementation of policies governing resource use. Also, the protection system must have the flexibility to enforce a variety of policies. Next, we will see what is access control. The most common approach to the protection problem is to make access dependent on the identity of the user. Different users may need different types of access to a file or directory. The most general scheme to implement identity dependent access is to associate with each file and directory an access control list specifying usernames and types of access allowed for each user. So, when a user requests access to a particular file, the operating system checks the access list associated with that file. If that user is listed for the requested access, then the access is allowed. Otherwise, a protection violation occurs and the user's job is denied access to the file. So, the access control is concerned with determining the allows activities for valid users, mediating every attempt by a user to access a resource in the system. Here, source is the subject and guard is the access control policies and object is the resources with controlled access. As we discussed about access list and groups, this approach has the advantage of enabling complex access methodologies. The main problem with access list is their length. If we want to allow everyone to read a file, we must list all users with read access. Here, the mode of access can be read, write and execute. There are three classes of users on Unix or Linux. One is owner access, second one group access, third one is public access. The ask manager, it will ask the manager to create a group, say G, and add some users to the group. For example, for a particular file, say game or subdirectory, we will define an appropriate access. For example, it is given below. We have three mode of access: owner, group and public, and particular file with all these three categories is created, and now a group is attached to that particular file which is given below. Now, what is the problem here is the access list is there. The problem with the access list is their length. If we want to allow everyone to read a file, we must list all users with the read access. And this technique has two undesirable consequences. One is constructing such a list may be a tedious and unrewarding task, especially if we do not know in advance the list of users in the system. The directory entry previously of fixed size now must be of variable size, resulting in more complicated space management. And these problems can be resolved by use of a condensed version of the access list, which is nothing but owner, group and universe. Here all the other users in the system constitute the universe. The most recent approach is to combine the access control list with the more general owner, group and universe access control scheme. For example, Solaris uses the three categories of access by default but allows access control list to be added to specific files and directories when more fine-grained access control is desired. The basic terminology in access control are the object and the access rights. Object is nothing but the access to an object potentially implies access to the information it contains. For example, file, program, printer, etc. An access right is the permission granted to a user to perform an operation. For example, read, write, execute or access. Here, the collection of object and a set of access right for each of the object is considered. A process operates with a protection domain that specifies the resources that the process may access. For example, given below, object 1 has access rights of read and write. Object 2 has the access right of read and write. But object 3 has the access to execute. And this domain and object and access rights, everything can be framed as an access control matrix, which contains domains as rows and objects as columns, and each entry in the matrix consists of a set of access right. Thank you.